One of these shots was shot with a $50 lens. The other was shot with a $1,200 lens. Can you spot the difference? One is the Helios 44-2, a vintage lens that you can snag for around $50. The other is the Sirui Saturn 75mm anamorphic lens. I think these two look pretty good. To really tell the difference between the two, you probably could spot it, but for the most part, it's not a glaring difference. It's not an $1,150 difference between these two lenses. Now you're probably thinking, why do this comparison? Is there a need for this? I ended up using both in a real world situation on a current documentary that I'm working on. When I got home and looked at the footage to see that these two really do pair very well. So let's dive into it. Both of these lenses have their own unique characteristics. Both of them brought something to the table for this production. For this project, I knew I was going to be primarily using the Sirui 75 anamorphic lens for the interview shot. It's a dark subject matter that we're talking about. I spent about an hour and a half setting up the lights for this particular shot. So the lighting setup that's on him is there's an Amaran 200 with a softbox and a honeycomb filter on it behind him. It's the mini dome softbox. So that's coming from behind him, sort of lighting the back of him and his shoulder. The key light on his face is the Lexley Cello 2. With the Saturn Sirui lens, you have a 3-foot minimal focus distance between the barrel of the lens and your subject. I was going to want to take a 50 and get in a little bit closer. As I got closer to him, behind his right-hand side, you can see that doorway, you can see the other room. I just thought that added a nice touch of character to the interview. I was able to match the look in post. We were in a controlled environment. We took the time to light things. We took the time to expose properly on both lens setups. So that's key no matter what combination of lenses you're using. So let's talk about the unique characteristics of both of these lenses, because this is something I'm using in my arsenal. Let's talk about the Helios 44-2. This is a very unique vintage glass. It's a legend in the world of vintage glass. They made so many of them that you can easily get one on eBay. When I say I found one for $50, if you end up spending $100 on one, that's reasonable. It was designed for stills photography, but it translates very well in video. The Helios is known for its swirly bokeh. Now, despite its age and low price point, the Helios 44-2, it performed incredibly well. Now, let's switch gears and talk about the Sirui Saturn 75mm anamorphic lens. It definitely excels in delivering a sharp, clean image with that coveted anamorphic look. In this particular shot, I don't know that you could tell that it's an anamorphic lens. We're not shining light on it to get that flare. There's nothing in the background to show that oval bokeh. That can definitely elevate your projects to a whole new level. I don't know that anyone's sitting at home saying, gee, which lens should I get, this $100 lens or this $1,200 lens? Making sure that these lenses work together is important. It's not about the gear, it's how you use it. It really comes down to how you're going to capture your story and how you use your gear. Thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot if you've made it this far. It means even more if you give me that thumbs up, and especially if you hit subscribe. But what's most important is if you leave me a comment or a question. I love engaging with all of you talking about this stuff. We don't always have to agree, but as long as we're respectful, that's what matters. We can agree to disagree, and it means a lot. Thank you so much. Peace.